Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Harry Potter TCG Revival tournament. If you haven't been watching before, this has been an ongoing tournament series, so all of the previous matches are on the channel. We're playing Harry Potter TCG Revival, and after the result from the last round of the Swiss, I ended up getting into the top cut, and it ended up being a top 3 cut. I was tied with another player for second, so that's the guy that I will be playing today. This is a guy that we already played in Swiss, and if we beat him, I will advance to the finals of the tournament, so that's pretty exciting. And I'll do a brief recap of what he was playing, and basically, I'm expecting to do well because we did really well last time and it seemed like a really good matchup for us. Obviously, we should still stay focused and not get too cocky, but it seems like it's a very good matchup for us, so I'm expecting good results today. Yes, so he was playing Arthur Weasley as his starting character. These I'm going to show the main 2 cards we need to be thinking about. So Arthur Weasley lets you once per turn use an action to choose one of your items you play and do damage to our opponent equal to its printed power cost. And obviously with this ability you would like to get a big item on the board, one with a large cost, so you can deal a lot of damage. And the way to do that in this, well, in the deck that he's playing is getting a broken item on the board. So this one is an item that you can play. When you play it, you choose another of your items in play, and broken item requires less power to play, equal to the item you're discarding. So it's an item that costs a lot, that is easier to get into play than other items that cost the same amount. And within itself, yeah, it doesn't really do anything. It draws a card when you play it after you discard the other item. But other than that, it's literally just a blob that you have on the board. And to me, it seems like the only use for this is Arthur Weasley's ability. Now, if you remember our deck from before, let's actually let's remove this so you can see. So let's just do a recap of my deck. My deck is basically the perfect counter to this because, well, I can put it up again. So Arthur doesn't really do anything until you get this item on the board. You don't want to start using him early on because it's not really worth to spend an action to do the damage until you have an item with a large cost. And in this case, that item is broken item. So he doesn't do anything early on to help him. And we are playing a Lesson Destruction deck. So first of all, we're making it hard for him to even reach the amount of power that he needs to be able to play his item cards. So we have cards that discard lessons. We have cards that discard any card in play, like picking on Neville, Lost Notes, so on. Scribbler is the same, Defendo, Invisible Ink to get rid of more lessons. He doesn't seem to have, from what I remember, a nice way to get rid of creatures. So once we put the creatures on the board, he takes damage over and over. And we have a lot of ways to get rid of his stuff. And even if he should get the power to be able to place items, we have a bunch of cards that can discard them. So even if it gets to that point, he might only be able to use Arthur to deal damage one time. And after that, we can discard the item from play, hopefully. So as long as we don't draw very poorly and we're not able to play our cards on time, maybe because we don't draw enough lessons, I think this should be a really favorable matchup for us. And yeah, that's basically why. And also, this is one of the few matchups we had in the tournament where our sideboard is actually relevant, because he's playing Potions Lessons. We can sideboard in Cauldron to Civ and actually make use of this card. So far, our sideboard hasn't been that useful in the tournament, something I would like to improve for future tournaments. But there you go. And Yeah, I think so. That is basically the recap. It looks like he's online. Oh, actually, okay. So he's not here yet, but I'm going to um, I'm gonna take a break in the stream for a little while, and then we will be back with the match, I think. Well, actually, it turns out he's a bit late. Okay, fine. Then I will talk a little bit about another deck that I haven't even tested yet. So in Revival, you can't play Ron Weasley. Let's pull Ron Weasley up. So let's talk a little bit about that. So there's this guy, Ron Weasley. So this guy, as your starting character, is great in Classic. He says you can play a character card for one less action. Now in Revival, he's banned. You can't play him at all. You can't use him as a starting character. You can't put him in your deck. So if you want to play a character-based deck, you have to make some different choices. Now, not only is Ron banned, but also Ginny Weasley. So you usually in Classic when you play the character decks, you're using Ginny Weasley to get the draw. As you can see, she gives you cards every turn based on how many other characters you have in play. So both of these cards are banned, makes it much harder to play character decks. But we will, so it becomes more of a challenge to play character decks in Revival. So how will we solve that is the question. And I've seen a few lists, but I made an attempt at building a list that I haven't even tested yet, but I thought I might share it since we have time. So let's go over here. Oh, never. It's not actually here. Did I guess I forgot to save it. Let's build it on the spot then. So the idea is you have Snape. I'll just search for Snape. You have Snape as your starting character, and he provides you a potions power. That's really why you're playing him. He can also heal you 7 one time during the game, but the main reason you're playing him is because he provides you the potions power. There you go. And the reason you do that is so you can play this, the Lockhart's Hair Care Potions. So this is the key. Whenever you play a character card, you use up 1 action to play it instead of 2. So the exact same effect that Ron has, but it's an item, and it requires 1 potions power. And so we are playing Snape so that we can play this card right away, first of all. And also, my idea was that we will not be playing any other cards that give power in the entire deck. And that means we can play a lot of character cards. So we can play the Lockhart's Hair Care Potions. And then the other card we can play is Magical Mess Remover. So it allows us to choose any number of cards in play, of our own cards in play, and discard them. So this we are playing because it allows us to get rid of characters that we have only already used their once per game abilities, and then we can play another copy and use it again. So 4 of those. And as you can see again, this requires 1 power and potions power. So again, Snape provides all the power we need here. And then we add all the characters. So how do we actually win the game at only 1 power? Well, we're using characters. So 1 character we can use is Peeves. So he says once per game, we can discard our hand and draw 7 cards to make our opponent do the same thing. So that's basically 7 damage to our opponent. And we can combine Peeves with Grip Hook. This guy. So he can once per game discard our opponent's hand and make them draw the amount of cards they discarded. So if we first use Peeves, then use Grip Hook, we can make them draw 7, then draw 7 more, basically. So that's 14 damage, essentially. And of course, we can remove these with Magical Mess Remover to play another piece or another grip hook and repeat the process. So we can do this multiple times, and eventually our opponent will run out of cards. Another way we can make our opponent draw cards is with Colin Creevy, this guy. So he makes once per turn, it lets us use an action to make to draw 3 cards and then make our opponent do the same. So now we have a way to another way to make them draw more cards, essentially dealing damage. And now I'm kind of just winging it, but like there's a few obvious includes here, like Madame Pomfrey. She can heal us 12 once per game, but because we're playing Magical Mess Remover, we could potentially play multiple copies of Pomfrey and heal us many times. And then we have Quirrell. Oh, he's spelled with 2 R's. Yeah, there we go, Quirrell. And he can return all creatures and items to their owner's hands once per game. Now, there is a slight downside here that he would return our own hair care potions. We will kind of lose an extra action because we have to play this again. But I think that's fine in the grand scheme of things. If our opponent is playing a creature or item heavy deck, we're going to make them lose a lot more actions that we are losing. And also to gain actions, we can play Seamus Finnegan, common card in character decks. So this guy allows us to discard 2 cards once per turn, and we get an extra action, which is even better if you're about to use Peeves. You might as well discard some of the cards that you will be discarding anyway and get an extra action with Seamus Finnegan. So this is kind of a nice combo. Also with Colin Creevy, you can draw a lot of cards and then Seamus can get you the action back that you used to activate Creevy's ability. And then, another important thing here is you want to be able to get these hair care potions absolutely as quickly as possible. So we are also playing this guy, is what I figure is kind of the trick. You play 4 Nearly Headless Nick, because this guy once per game can search your deck for 2 items and put them into your hand. So we can get 2 of these hair care potions. Now, of course, this will make our start slower because you have to spend 2 actions to play the Nearly Headless Nick, but we need to find this item. So if we don't get it in our starting hand, we want other ways to find it. What else can we do? So Crab and Goyle is another way to deal damage that we can play. Crab and Goyle. So they allow us to use an action and discard 2 cards from hand to do 3 damage to our opponent. And I'm going to put this at 2 copies because it's not as important as the other effects in the deck, I think. We may want some way to stop our opponent from playing spells. So let's put an adventure into our deck through the Arch. It says our opponent can't play spell cards. They have to skip 4 actions to solve it. And we could potentially get this card back if we play another character, Hannah Abbott. If you remember, she allows us to trade 2 cards in our hand for 2 non-healing cards in our discard pile. So she's a really useful card. She can get back a lot of different things depending on what we need for the situation. If, for example, if our opponent plays McGonagall, allowing them to get rid of an adventure once per game, we have Hannah Abbott to get through the Arch back and still block the remaining spells, so it's not as easy for our opponent to mess with us and kind of put us back in control. Then I'm sort of... this is like the basic idea of the deck, and then you're sort of just filling it out with more characters. And now I don't actually remember what characters I was supposed to fill the rest of the deck with. Yeah. We have a lot of... I feel like we have the most important ones. But I'm sure you could do more here. Maybe you include like Dean Thomas. You could play 2 copies maybe because he's not as important either. Allows you to draw 3 cards once per game. Yeah. What else? So basically we have space for 12 more cards. Oh yeah, of course. You're gonna play Filch in this kind of deck. If your opponent is playing adventures, this is a neat character to get rid of those. So Filch is perfect for this deck. And then 8 more. Yeah, off the top of my head, I would love to remember what else I put in here. But anyway, this is the general idea of the deck. I feel like the rest of the specific choices you make, they don't matter as much. It's just the general idea that's important. We could, for example, just play more copies of Crab and Goyle and Dean Thomas if we want to, because the idea is we're using Seamus to discard a lot of cards anyway. So you can afford to have extra copies of cards, and of course you want extra copies of the really powerful ones like Mana Pomfrey, because you can use the mess remover to discard them, so you can play another copy. But yeah, something like this. So this is how I guess I would build a character deck in Revival. Just thought I'd share that. And just to be clear, this is not something I've tested yet. It's just an idea. But similar things have worked decently in Classic. And this kind of deck, I feel, is better positioned in Revival, because people just rely more on creatures, I would say, and like, yeah, chip damage. Of course, people can still play Venomous Tentacular Juice combos against you, but I figure Through the Arch maybe could stop that. There's other things you could play. I guess if you're worried about combo decks or decks that prison you out, you can play Draco Malfoy to discard specific cards from their hand, maybe. There's a few options, you know. Another idea, maybe I put this in the deck before, is you can play Harry the Seeker. No, not this one. Probably you shouldn't play this one. Okay, we just search for Harry. That doesn't say Harry. Yeah, this one. So you could play Harry Triumphant, that gives you 4 cards at the end of a turn where you played adventures. So you could add some more adventures maybe, and then play this card to get more draw. If Peeves is not enough, maybe he is. But like Escaping the Dursleys, for example, is a great adventure. Dursleys, if I can spell. Yeah, so this adventure is great. Another thing you could play. Although you gotta be careful if you put a card like this in your deck, because Escaping the Dursleys, when they solve it, they get to search their deck for any card. So they can get Peeves from their deck and play Peeves. And if your opponent gets to play Peeves when you're playing this deck, that's a big problem because of the unique rule. So it's not like my house format where both players can have the same character. So if your opponent has played Peeves, then you can't play any of your Peeves, and we have no way to get rid of their Peeves to be able to play our own. So you really want to prevent that. So in the case where you want to play Escaping the Dursleys, you should probably make sure that you get your own Peeves out before you do that, or else you might be locked out of playing Peeves for the rest of the game. It's like you could still win the game. It would be a lot harder because you can still use Colin Creevy and Grip Hook and Crab and Goyle, but that's seems way less efficient and not something you want to go for. Yeah, so anyway, that's the idea for how you could make like a Snape character deck in Revival. Use basically I really like this idea because it's so neat that Snape provides you all the power that you need for the rest of the game, and the problem is just getting to the point where you have Lockhart's Hair Care Potion so you can start playing those characters. But yeah, and then you can play the adventures to be a little bit resilient against control decks, Quirrell to be resilient against creature decks. So I don't know, it seems like it might be a versatile deck, but yeah, this is something I would like to test in the future, maybe on a coming stream. I might want to be, streaming some of the practice for Revival ideas. Anyway, my opponent should be here relatively soon. So what I'm going to do is take a break. And then when he returns, I assume it's going to be 5 to 10 minutes-ish. Then we're going to start the final match. And yeah, stay tuned for that. So I'll be right back. All right, we are back. We're just about to start the match. So I'm just waiting for him to host the game. And then it will be showtime. Again, I feel like we're super favored. But yeah, let's stay focused. Let's make the best decisions just to make sure it goes our way. And yeah, just waiting for the game to appear. All right, so it's going to be up in 15 seconds. And if we make it, I'm going to be rematching Nicola again in the final. There we go. This is, yeah, for all the marbles. There we go, McGonagall. And we write good luck, have fun. And we roll a d20. No, let me just make sure my face is not covering anything. No, this is good. So I rolled 7. He rolls 14, so he gets to start. So that's bad, but it's a good matchup, so I feel like we can survive that. This looks like a bad hand. No way to interact with him early. Although, like, we have all the lessons that we need. But we kind of want something to be able to discard his stuff. Like, it's nice to have all the power that we need. We know that we won't have a trouble finding lessons. But yeah, ideally I would like to see more spells to disrupt him. But maybe this is fine. Maybe we just keep this. I don't know. I guess we'll end up on a lot of lessons that we don't want. Already seeing this many. It's interesting. I think I'll mulligan. Like a bit of a faster hand. Wow, that's the exact same hand. That's so funny. What are the odds? Wow, okay. Well, it's our destiny to play this hand, I guess. So he plays 2 potions. We draw for the turn. And we play 2 lessons. We don't have any other play. Alright, exciting. With this, so it's a slow hand. But at least we know that we'll reach the amount of power that we want. Yeah, and he has the book that he wants. So we draw for the turn. And I guess we'll just keep playing lessons, because it's mainly what we can do right now. And yeah, we already have enough lessons to get to 8 power. So now he actually has an item. Okay, so we draw for the turn. And yeah, I'm just gonna keep playing cards. Yep. Play 2 lessons, we get to 7 power. This Colin's camera, he can start dealing damage if he wants. And this also, Colin's camera gives him an extra card, but also gives us an extra card. Yep, we'll both draw with camera. And we got a picking on Neville, so we can start removing things. This might be the nightmare scenario, but this game is still... yeah, so he's gonna do 5 damage using the camera. So we put 5 in our discard. Yep. I still think that's fine. So we draw for our turn. And so he can discard this Holidays with Hags to put 2 lessons of the same type from his discard pile into play. So we should keep that in mind. Now we have to think a little bit. So I could play this picking on Neville on the Transfiguration. There's also the option to just play a Care of Magical Creatures and then Invisible Ink on the Transfig and the Potions. So he requires to play the broken item now if he wants to get rid of Colin's camera. That's going to be 7 power. And right now he's at 6 power. So we could stop him from doing that. But then again, if he plays it, we're sort of fine with that. We can play picking on Neville on it. I'm not sure. Yeah, I feel like... yeah, I'm wondering if for now I should just chill. Or maybe I play the Capybara. Or the picking on Neville on the camera. That seems like a fine play. He has to use an action to make use of it. I think I'll just, yeah, get rid of 2 lessons. So that puts us at 8. Invisible Ink on these 2. So you can't use the Holidays with Hags yet because the lessons have to be of different types. We pass. And we're going to get a card each from the camera. But yeah, I mean, being at 8, we should be pretty comfortable. Now all the Defendos are active, Scribbly Force is active, Invisible Ink is active. And since he has to use an action each turn to keep dealing damage, it's not like a creature that does the damage for free. And we can take damage a few times without being in the danger zone. So we shouldn't stress to get rid of the camera. We should make sure we stop his other plays first, and then we can start cleaning this up. Place a Transfiguration. I'm expecting him to deal damage again. Yes, he does. So we take 5. We're losing some good cards, unfortunately. We already lost 3 Scribbly Force. So we're going to draw our card for the turn. Capybara is nice. One idea could be to just play 2 Capybaras to start dealing the damage. Saving the picking on Neville for later. Or I can start with the picking on Neville on the Transfiguration to kind of lock those out. Although he can always get them back with this book. I think it's a good time to play a Capybara. So we get a card. Oh, I got a Defendo. Yeah, I think using picking on Neville on the Transfiguration is correct. We have the Defender to get rid of something else. And I think that's going to be the camera. Yes, so we get a card from the camera. So probably next turn is Capybara and Defendo on the camera. Yeah, I have to start being a little careful. But here he could get 2 Transfigurations back with his book, if he wants to. Yeah, uses the book. And he has to discard it as well. Yeah, so he gets the 2 Transfigurations back. So he's at 5 power. Plays Dabi's Disappearance. So he gets this into our hand, and then he gets an action back. That card is really good. It's a shame I didn't put it into my deck. And then maybe he hits us for 5 more. Yeah, hits us for 5. Yeah, maybe I should just have gotten rid of the camera earlier. Would probably been correct to just play picking on Neville on it, because we're getting a bit low on life. But okay, what's done is done. We play the copy, we get a card from it. And we can Defendo the camera. Actually, I could Invisible Link these lessons. But yeah, then we take 5 more. But then he could just, I guess he could just play another camera and deal 5 to us. So 5 more will be at 21. Potentially next turn, if we don't get rid of lessons, he could play. Well, no, he couldn't. Yeah. I guess I'll just Defendo the camera. Should I? Thinking. I think it was just, yeah. I was gonna say it's wrong to play the Capybara, but we didn't have the Invisible Ink earlier. So if I play the Invisible Ink, will he be able to play his broken item at some point? Maybe. I feel like no. Yeah, let's play the Invisible Ink. And try to do this. This way. We get a card from the camera. He draws one extra card. So that's good news. No, actually, he hasn't drawn any extra cards. He just drew one from the camera and one normal. So now he's thinking about how to spend his actions. Playing a potions. Playing a self-stirring cauldron. So this one discards 2 potions, provides 4 power, but it gives him an action back the turn he plays it. So now I'm wondering, he has 1 action left. So what does he want to spend it on? Because if he doesn't spend it on anything, then we just... Okay, then we can just discard the cauldron. So we take 5 damage here. So he passes to us. We get a card for the turn. Okay, finally, another Diffindo. So now we can get rid of both of these items. And feel a little more confident. As he's back at 2 power, he needs to climb his way back to start dealing damage to us again. And we can buy some time then to put more creatures on the board. If he gets to play a broken item and deal damage to us with it, then that could be a problem. Okay, so he just plays 2 lessons. We draw for the turn. Diffindo is nice, can get rid of whatever item he plays next. And then he takes a 3 from the Capybara. What is this location? When they discard one of their items or play them, we choose a non-healing item in this. Okay. Play a Capybara, we get a draw. I think we just play Invisible Ink to slow him down more. And maybe finally we're in control. I wasn't really feeling comfortable before, but I'm getting a lot more confident now. Especially if he has to draw for extra cards this turn. And it should be even easier for us in the next match or game, because then we get the sideboard. So he just draws extra cards and he passes. Yeah, so it's the exact position we want to be in. So we draw for the turn. He takes 6 from the Capybaras. We can put a Porcupine on the board. And I guess another Porcupine. And that's all of our actions. Just counting that he took the right amount of damage. Yep, yeah, 6 damage. We pass. And now we have 2 ways to mess with him next turn. So that should give us another turn. And each turn that he doesn't get to do anything, he's taking 10 damage. But yeah, still, if he gets to somehow play the broken item and use Arthur in the same turn to deal 12, then take a lot of damage. Plays Escaping the Dursleys. Okay. So this one we can get rid of with McGonagall. So that's fine. I wonder if there's another adventure that we're worried about that he could play after Escaping the Dursleys, but I can't really think of one. So I'm gonna use McGonagall to get rid of Escaping the Dursleys. And then we're gonna get rid of his lessons, and that should buy us enough time to win with the creatures. We just pass. And we should have bought enough time now, I think. Oh, he has Madame Pomfrey. Well, still, he spends his turn to heal 12, but then we're dealing 10. So he's taking most of that damage once again anyway, so it doesn't change the position that much. He just gets to put a lot of lessons back. So lots and lots of lessons is what he's putting back. And what else? Yeah, he could put other stuff as well. Yeah, puts this book back. They can also get lessons back. But that requires 3 power, so you'd need lessons before you can even play it. And the Cauldron, another Transfiguration, and a Potion. So that should be 12 cards. And I guess I should pay attention as well, like once again, to what's in his discard pile. So he's playing Deboning, Haircut Potions, maybe something else that's interesting. I guess that was it. Yeah, picking on Neville is interesting. Okay, so it takes the damage. And I feel like I should not be... We can take a look at what he discarded. So some more Escaping the Dursleys caught. Basilisk Fang can get rid of creatures when you play it. But yeah, I'll just... I don't know if he's on Grip Hook, probably not, but I'll play around him just to be sure. So I'll just play 2 lessons and pass. Be as safe as possible. I don't think he plays Quirrell, so I don't think he has a way to put these creatures back in our hand. He draws 1 card and passes. We draw our card for the turn. It's a Capybara. We don't need to play it. We'll just play 2 lessons. All right. So he concedes. Okay, we made it. We almost lost that game, but yeah, we're gonna do another one. And I want to take a very short break before starting the next. Okay. So I'll be back in just 1 second. Welcome back, everybody. We're about to sideboard in this match. And again, this is actually a matchup where we can make use of the sideboard. So yes, we want this Cauldron to sieve. And we need to remove 4 cards, and those will be outpost. Because we always find that these are not the greatest to have in our deck. Maybe we keep, I don't know, maybe we keep 1 copy and get rid of something else. I'm not sure. No, I don't think so. We're not really afraid of escaping the Dursleys. We can get rid of the first one for free. If you place a second one, then we can probably just solve it and get whatever card we want from our deck. So we have the Cauldron to sieve, right? Yep. Okay. So let's draw a starting hand. Looks good enough. If we have 4 lessons, that's really good to start with. We know we can play the cards we want. Oh yeah. Yes. So we draw for the turn. Play 2 lessons. And back to him. Yeah, we got some really nice control cards now. Scribbly Force. They all got discarded last game, and it's one of our most powerful ways to disrupt our opponent. So it's really nice that this time we already have it. And another one. Now we just need to make sure that we have enough lessons. So we have 2 to play this turn. Next turn we can play the Porcupine. Hopefully we get some more lessons soon. Because we need to get to 7 to start playing these cards. And now he's thinking. Like, maybe he's thinking if he should play the Self-Stirring Cauldron this early. It's a bit risky. If I have a Picking on Neville or Lost Notes, it just gets destroyed. Probably... Oh, he's going for it anyway. I was thinking... Yeah, I was thinking he shouldn't do this. But maybe he has a good reason. So this gets him an action back, so he can play the camera, still have 1 action left over, and then he can deal 5. Yeah, so he hits me for 5 with Arthur. So we discard 5. Yes. Alright. So he passes back to us. We need to see 2 more lessons. That's not a lesson. So our first card is going to be the Porcupine, because that also draws us a card. And I guess we have no other choice but to play the other Porcupine, get another card. So now we have 1 of the lessons. Yeah, he has some time here to deal damage to us before we can play the Scribbly Forces. Keep in mind though, he did start. So if he does win this one, we still have 1 game left where we get to start. And that should make a huge difference. But this is still looking fine. And we just need to get to 7. Then we can start cleaning up his board. And then he will stop dealing damage. So even if he has a lead in terms of damage now. Although... Yeah, this turn it's still too early for him to play the broken item. So hits us for 5 again. Drop to discard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He passes. We draw for the turn. We do the damage. So this is a bit awkward. Because we need 1 more lesson. We can only play 1 this turn. So we'll draw an extra card. And then we'll play the lesson. And hopefully we'll get another lesson on our draw or from the camera. And then we can play Scribbly Force next turn to clean up the items. So we get a card from the camera. Picking a Neville is at least something we can play, but it's not a lesson. We super duper need the lesson. Like, now it's actually getting a bit stressful. Oh, plays the Basilisk Fang. This is a nice one, so does 2 damage to a creature when he plays it. So he can get rid of one of the porcupines. Yeah, now we can hit us for 6 damage with this Fang. So this is a problem. Passes to us. Get a card for the turn. Finally, we have the lesson. Okay. Yeah, so I think what I should do is play the lesson and play Scribbly Force on these 2, I suppose. Or maybe the Cauldron and a Potions lesson. No, I guess the Collins Camera to stop. Yeah, we want to stop his draw because we don't need to draw more cards. So we want to stop him from drawing cards to make it harder for him to get lessons. So let's play this. We get to 7 finally. We can play the Scribbly Force. We can target the camera and the Cauldron. And now we have 3 more Scribbly Force. Once we Scribbly Force the lessons away, we can make it so he can't play the Fang again. And then we should be safe. But so he can deal 6 more damage, but I think after that we will be in control. There's also, we can play Picking a Neville or something as well. So he plays a lesson. Potions. And second action, he hits us for 6 damage. So we take 6. Passes to us. So we get the Picking on Neville. And I think we start by playing a Picking on Neville on the Fang. And then we can sort of put him in a position where he can't play an item next turn by playing Scribbly Force. And we can target, which lessons though? I guess the Potions ones. So 1 goes in his hand, and we pass. And now we should be in control. If we get another lesson, we can even start playing Invisible Ink. 2 more Scribbly Force buys us a lot of time. We have another creature. Things should be okay. So plays a lesson. Plays the Hair Care Potions. So back to us. Draw a card for the turn. I guess we can play the Capybara and then Scribbly Force on the Potions lesson and the Hair Care Potions. I don't know if we should be that worried about him getting a discount on characters, but maybe. So let's target the Hair Care Potions and the Potions lesson, in case we should be. We've seen Madame Pomfrey. I'm not sure what else he plays that we should worry about. He chooses to keep the lesson, put the lesson back in his hand, and discard the item. So now we have enough damage. We just need to keep discarding his stuff, so he doesn't get to play his items. potions and the transfiguration. So it passes to us. And we draw a lesson. So now we could play this lesson and invisible ink. Seems like a good idea. Whoops. Yeah, this puts him back at 2, so he can't play any of the books. Well, he could play a book next turn, but he wouldn't have the time to discard it. Wouldn't have the time to deal damage with Arthur. So now things are comfortable. Like, he can heal himself 12 with Pomfrey, but that only delays things. If he's not able to play cards, we will still have the time to deal the damage we want. Did we discard his healing? No. Well, no, actually, there is one Madame Pomfrey. I'm not sure if he plays more than one copy. So, healing is gone. Yeah, draws a card, plays a lesson. So, passes to us. And we can just play picking on Neville on one of the lessons. And then I think Scribbly Force on the other 2. Then he has one he can play next turn, so if he draws another one, we can play Invisible Ink on those. I accidentally drew. Alright, he's very nice. We just keep it until next turn. People are being very gentlemanly in this tournament, so that's nice. Just plays 2 lessons and passes. Okay. Yeah, and I guess we can play the Capybara just to speed up the win. And then Invisible Ink on these 2 lessons. Should be good. And now he has 2 more turns where he needs to make something happen, or these creatures will kill him. And I will not draw extra cards. Just in case he plays Griphook or something, let's just play the lessons. He might also play Peeves that can deal 7 damage, so that's another thing to be wary of, but we have 14 cards, so we should be okay. It looks like he kept the adventures in his deck, but we haven't used McGonagall, so we're also safe from adventures. He draws extra cards, passes to us, we draw for the turn, deal 8. And I think next turn will be game. So I'll just play 2 lessons. And pass. And I think that's GG. GG! Nice! That's... that means... I will play the final. We're advancing to the final. We're going to play Nicola again. Yeah, this was closer than last time. Yeah, the first game actually got a bit scary. This one was... it looked kind of close, but we got firmly in control. But yeah, it almost got out of hand because we didn't get to 7 power as quickly as we wanted to. But then, yeah, as soon as we got there, you get so much control. So you slow down the damage immensely. And all right, yeah. Yeah, I think maybe I underestimated the early item impression. Although you want to lock him out of playing more cards. So yeah, I'm not sure what the right cards are to target, because if I just get rid of the item, he can probably just play another one, is what I'm thinking. So you also want to make sure that he can't play another item later on. But yeah, I'm not sure. So yeah, I'm going to the final. We're going to be playing Nicola. We have played before in the Swiss. We played in the 5th round, so I know what is on. I know it's the most probably the most challenging deck we faced, and I have a strategy in mind for it now that I know what it plays. So at least I know what the correct place will be against him, and we'll just hope that things pan out the way we want them to. That we get to hopefully we get to start the first game, because that is when we have the best chance. And yeah, we'll make the right place. So I think that's gonna be it for this stream. Yeah, thank you for watching. I will see you in the finals. I'm not sure when that will be yet, but that's gonna be planned soon. We'll put us an event on the channel. So stay tuned, and see you next time.